Welcome to our channel The Shadow Tales.
Today's topic is about Tsutomu Miyazaki aka the Otaku murderer. Who is Tsutomu Miyazaki? Tsutomu Miyazaki was born on the 21st of August 1962 in Itsukaichi, Tokyo, the son of a wealthy family. He was born premature and had a rare birth defect that caused his hand joints to be fused together, preventing him from being able to bend his wrists upwards. Miyazaki's family operated a regional newspaper company and were well known in Itsukaichi, where his grandfather and great-grandfather had served on the town council. Due to his parents being busy, he was mainly raised by his grandfather and an intellectually disabled man the family hired as a nanny. Miyazaki was ostracized when he attended elementary school due to his deformity, and consequently kept to himself. He attended Meidai Nakano High School in Nakano, a prestigious high school associated with Meiji University, and was a star student until his grades began to drop dramatically. He was ranked 40 out of 56 in his class and did not receive the customary admission to Meiji University for students of the school. Instead of studying English and becoming a teacher as he originally intended, Miyazaki attended a local junior college and studied to become a photography technician. In the mid-1980s, Miyazaki moved back into his parents' house in Itsukaichi, sharing a room with his elder sister. Although his family was highly influential in Itsukaichi, he expressed no desire to take over their business. After his arrest, Miyazaki would say that what he really craved was being listened to about his problems, but believed that his parents, more worried about the material than the sentimental, would have not heard him. He would have been ignored. In the same confession, he said that by this period in his life he had begun to consider suicide. Miyazaki felt he only received support from his grandfather, to whom he was close, and was rejected by his two younger sisters. In May 1988, Miyazaki's grandfather died, which served to deepen his depression and isolate him even further. In an attempt to retain something from him, Miyazaki ate part of his grandfather's ashes. A few weeks later, one of Miyazaki's sisters caught him watching her while she was taking a shower. He attacked her when she told him to leave. When his mother learned of the incident and demanded that he spend more time working and less time with his videotapes, he attacked her as well. Between August 1988 and June 1989, Miyazaki mutilated and murdered 4 girls between the ages of 4 and 7, and sexually molested their corpses. He drank the blood of one victim and ate a part of her hand. These crimes, which prior to Miyazaki's apprehension were named the Little Girl Murders, and later the Tokyo Saritama serial kidnapping murders of little girls, shocked Saritama Prefecture, which had few crimes against children. On the 22nd of August 1988, one day after Miyazaki's 26th birthday, Mori Kono, aged 4, vanished while playing at a friend's house. Miyazaki had led Kono into his black Nissan Langley, then drove westward of Tokyo and parked the car under a bridge in a wooded area. There, he sat alongside Kono for half an hour before murdering her and molesting her corpse. He dumped her body in the hills near his home, departing with her clothes, then allowed the body to decompose before returning to remove her hands and feet, which he kept in his closet. Miyazaki burned Kono's remaining bones in his furnace, ground them into powder, and sent them to her family in a box along with several of her teeth, photos of her clothes, and a postcard which read, "Muri, bones, cremated, investigate, prove." Kono's hands and feet were found in Miyazaki's closet after his arrest almost a year later. On the 3rd of October 1988, Miyazaki abducted Masami Yoshizawa, aged 7, after spotting her while driving along a rural road. He had offered Yoshizawa a ride, which she accepted, then drove her to the same place he had killed Kono. Miyazaki killed Yoshizawa, engaged in sexual acts with her corpse, and took her clothes with him when he departed. 2 months later, on the 12th of December 1988, he abducted Erika Namba, aged 4, as she was returning home from a friend's house. Miyazaki forced her into his car and drove to a parking lot in Nagui, where he forced her to remove her clothes in the back seat and began to take pictures of her. He killed Namba, tied her hands and feet behind her back, covered her with a bedsheet, and placed her body in his car's trunk. He disposed of her clothes in a wooded area and left her body in the adjoining parking lot, where it was discovered 3 days later. On the 20th of December, Namba's family received a postcard sent by Miyazaki with a message assembled using words cut out of magazines. Erika, cold, cough, throat, rest, death. On the 6th of June 1989, Miyazaki convinced Yoko Nomoto, aged 5, to allow him to take pictures of her. He then led Nomoto into his car and murdered her, covered her corpse with a bedsheet and placed her in his trunk. Miyazaki took the corpse into his apartment and spent the next 2 days engaging in sexual acts with her body, taking photos and video of the remains in various positions. When Nemoto's corpse began to decompose, Miyazaki dismembered it, abandoning her torso in a cemetery and her head in the nearby hills. He kept her hands, drinking blood from and cannibalizing them. Fearing that the police would find Nemoto's body parts, Miyazaki returned to the cemetery and the hills 2 weeks later and carried the remains back to his apartment, where he hid them in his closet. On the 23rd of July 1989, Miyazaki saw two sisters playing in a park in Hachiji and managed to separate the younger of the sisters from the older one, who stayed behind. He was taking photographs of the younger daughter, whom he had convinced to strip nude, when he was caught by their father, who attacked Miyazaki but was unable to restrain him. After fleeing on foot, Miyazaki eventually returned to the park to retrieve his car, whereupon he was arrested by police responding to a call by the father. A search of his two-room bungalow produced 5,763 videotapes, some containing anime and slasher films later used as reasoning for his crimes. Interspersed among them was video footage and photos of his victims. Miyazaki, who retained a perpetually calm and collected demeanor during his trial, appeared indifferent to his capture. Miyazaki's trial began on the 30th of March 1990. Often talking nonsensically, he blamed his actions on Rat Man, an alter ego who he claimed forced him to kill. He spent time during the trial drawing Rat Man in cartoon form. The 7-year trial focused on Miyazaki's mental state at the time of the murders. Under Japanese law, people of unsound minds are not subject to punishment, and people having cognitive disability are entitled to reduced sentences. 3 teams of court-appointed expert psychiatrists came to differing conclusions about Miyazaki's ability to tell right from wrong. One team determined him to have a cognitive disability while another team concluded that he was schizophrenic, the other that he had multiple personality disorder. A third team found that although Miyazaki had a personality disorder, he was still capable of taking responsibility for his actions. The Tokyo District Court judged Miyazaki aware of the magnitude and consequences of his crimes and therefore accountable. He was sentenced to death on April 14, 1997. His death sentence was upheld by both the Tokyo High Court on June 28, 2001, and the Supreme Court of Justice on January 17, 2006. Miyazaki described his serial murders as an act of benevolence. Child killer Kaoru Kobayashi described himself as the next Tsutomu Miyazaki or Mamoru Tokuma, to which Miyazaki stated, "I won't allow him to call himself the second Tsutomu Miyazaki when he hasn't even undergone a psychiatric examination." Minister of Justice Kunio Hatayama signed Miyazaki's death warrant on June 17, 2008. And he was hanged at the Tokyo detention house that same day. RYZ Saki said, his trial was long, and that he was not willing to criticize Hatayama. That's it for today on the topic of Tsutomu Miyazaki aka the Otaku murderer. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe.